Previously, we have talked about survey as a data collection method. This time, we'll look at the other data collection methods. The second one that we can talk about is observation. Observation is immersion in a certain setting and recording of what occurs there. Our research instrument is a diary or an observation guide or checklist, and of course our senses, while our units of analysis is everything and everyone of interest in the setting. Some advantages of doing an observation would be it's non-intrusive, meaning we don't usually interrupt whatever is happening, and we don't have pressure or immediacy of finishing the data recording because we are merely observing. But disadvantages of it would be that the researcher might be biased or might have a subjective judgment regarding the observation. It could take a long time depending on what is being observed, and the setting is unpredictable. Anything can and will happen in the specific setting. So there are three types of observations. We have the active observation, wherein the observer is immersed in the setting and actively participates in the events of the setting. A passive observation, wherein the observer is outside the setting and is just merely observing and recording data. And a fusion of the two, which is active passive, wherein the observer actively involves himself in some of the activities happening in the setting and passively removes himself out of the setting to record some data, and that is active passive observation. Another type of data gathering method or data collection method is content analysis. This is an elaborate study of the content of certain sampled materials. Materials could be printed media, TV shows, web pages, commercials, product labels, billboards, speeches, performances, etc. So an advantage of doing content analysis would be it's non-intrusive. Again, there is no pressure or immediacy in giving out the data. And we can predict and control the settings because we are analyzing materials. However, some of the disadvantages would be the researcher might be biased or subjective when collecting or gathering the data from our sources. The fourth type of data collection method is an experiment. It is a method of studying the effect of a variable manipulated by the researcher in situations where other influences are held constant. These are the comparison of groups as well that have been differently exposed. So, when we do an experiment, we have common groupings such as the control group, which is the group that's held constant or untouched, and the treatment or experimental group, where the stimulus or the intervention is introduced. This is also what the researcher modifies. So let us illustrate this one. So the classic experimental design would have something like this. So we would usually have a pretest. Say for example, we have a group of students. So this is section A and this is section B, and they would have a pretest of a certain topic. Let's say sets. It's a test on sets. Now, section B will have some sort of treatment such as using video lectures. Whereas section A will have the usual method of teaching. And now we will have again another test, the same test we will use as post-test to see which one had a better score or if they would actually have the same score. As you might have seen, experiments is not just done in the sciences. We can also have it in education and another branch of science, the social sciences and the like. So the settings for an experiment might be in a laboratory or in the field, depending on our discipline. We have to make sure that the two groups that we are comparing are considerably similar to each other so that The process of the experiment will not be affected by other things, and we shall learn more about experiments in our research classes. We also have another data collection method called the simple or direct measurement, wherein the use of basic tools and senses to straightforwardly quantify certain characteristics, such as getting the weight through a weighing scale, thermometer for temperature, timer for time, and tape measure, ruler, or meter stick for length. Simple or direct measurement are usually in the hard sciences. We would also have what we call a focus group discussion. It is a round table interview of certain people on a certain topic, and a transcription of this interview is our data for the focus group discussion. This, however, falls under qualitative research. And similarly, we have the focus interview. It is similar to the focus group discussion but a one-on-one interview. Now, statistics is highly quantitative rather than qualitative. That is why we had a heavy emphasis on survey. And those are some of the basic data gathering methods.